hello. It's the rare Tommy C commentary video. But I thought, I don't put real nice videos together. I fancy myself a radio personality, and I am going to speak like a radio personality. I am not putting video together. I don't have the patience, and I don't know. I don't have a collection of memes to put up in between them. If I make gaming videos, I'll do that. MamaMax. Now, I initially was not, you probably won't believe me. I've been a little distracted of late, but I was initially not going to comment on this MamaMax firing. I'll read it. Provolone Cheese puts out, MamaMax got fired as a volunteer at the Casa of El Paso. Was that Casa of El Paso organization that focuses on helping abused children? Camden keeps winning. Well, I don't know if I'm all about that, but I'm not a pro Camden guy by any stretch. And he writes his victory, 8th of August, 2024. To everybody keeping up with events, we received an update today. The board of Casa El Paso reached out personally to my email to let me know that Max has been released from his role and is no longer a volunteer with the organization. This petition will be removed on August 8th to allow Casa El Paso to move on from the situation without hindering the ability to continue to help the children of their city. They do not deserve a strain on their reputation when Max's actions are the truly horrid ones. Thank you to all who signed, commented, and showed their support. Now, I don't know much about this. I think there's like a whole group of people keeping an eye on Max out there. And one of the reasons I didn't initially comment on this, because had this been Max quitting YouTube, taking a regular job, and trying to get on with his life, and they had done this, I would actually condemn this. I think even MamaMax has a right to get on with his life. I do. But I have no problem with this. And it's not simply just from a revenge perspective. I've gotten my revenge on MamaMax. I don't need any more. I'm not that sick. Pretty sick, but not that sick. So why don't I have a problem with this? Does anybody find it bizarre that he has time to volunteer specifically for at-risk children? I do. It's a little bizarre. It's a little weird. And I don't think he belongs near kids. Now, I know there's some kind of, I haven't seen anything solid. I heard there's an FBI investigation on some of the stuff he filmed. I don't know anything about that. I don't know if any of that is like illegitimate. I was told when I had done the research that the actress was well over age. If I had a problem with that, I'd have a problem with the crime reenactments. So I don't go for that. And I don't know enough about it. If he did do something illegal, have at him, FBI. But this is not what bothers me about this. Nowhere near kids. None. Max used YouTube to fancy himself some kind of advocate, avenger of the PDF file hunter variety. And it was a fraud and it was a fake. And when I said it was a fraud and a fake, I took nothing but shit for it. And Max and his fans, a guy that actually has children, accused me when I called the whole thing was a fraud. It was nonsense. It was ridiculous. It was silly. It was over the top. Max said that me, of all people, was somehow supporting the PDF file community. He ended up taking it back when he's falling apart back in the earlier part of this year. But, so I got my revenge, so to speak. I don't want him anywhere near kids. Now, what do you think he's trying to do here? Well, I have two guesses. one of which is going to be controversial. The second one, but both of them are pure speculation. One I think is grounded. The other one's tinfoil Tommy. And I'm going to take, I'll take the hit on that, the second one. But I'm not going to say it. I'm going to heavily imply it. And I'm going to heavily imply it without evidence other than his character traits or his behavior. First one that's a little more grounded. Here's my guess. Max didn't have a lot of, well, like a legitimate background. He wasn't a counselor. He didn't go to school for this stuff. He certainly wasn't a doctor. He didn't even become an advocate in the traditional manner. He just, I'm a YouTuber and I can do this type of thing. And then he realized it was a pretty good racket. He could make crazy videos, bitch about YouTube oppressing him when he was putting stuff that actually legitimately broke TOS, and collect a serious amount of money on bullshit stories, on people he never caught, on a completely farcical story about a vampire cult. And anybody that criticized it, like me, was some kind advocating for the worst people in our society. Thanks to Mudahar, thanks to people like Smaggle Daggle, and my fans, the heads, they supported me throughout that whole thing, even though he was like a huge YouTuber, and got to the bottom. And eventually, I was proven right that it was a scam. It was a scamming people that are angry at these monsters and predators taking advantage of our kids. It was a scam for that. Now, he never had, like I said, he never had any sort of background, legitimate background, IRL, so to speak. So my guess is he's probably trying to acquire it. He's probably trying to acquire. That's probably what he came. Well, I don't have any legitimate background, so I'll start volunteering for these situations, and I'll use this. I volunteered at Casa El Paso and this place and that place, and I know this stuff, and you can't say anything other because I'm an expert. I went out, I did the legwork, which is simply volunteering is just supposed to be volunteer work. That's my guess. With somebody like him, it's probably got selfish means. If I literally think I have a better shot being shortstop of the New York Yankees next year, for the New York Yankees next year, drinking coffee late at night. Then Max is doing this for the reasons you're supposed to volunteer for stuff like this. I don't believe that. If I was being a little more cynical, and I do think the guy's creepy, he might be collecting these kids' stories. That's possible too, and that's also wrong. But the odds of somebody that would run a scam like he did, just going into this for the best reasons, it's just, I'm sorry, I can't grasp that. I can't think there's any chance of that happening. Now the next one. I'm not going to say it. I'm going to imply it. And I think I have every right to imply it, considering what was done to me. But let me make this clear. I've got no evidence for this. I'm simply judging this in my experience of horrible people. And he's not the only one. You can see a lot of other people that do this sort of thing. They usually put themselves in positions of authority so they can take advantage of others. So, I have long wondered, because he's such a strong advocate, he's so into it, it means so much to him. Do we have a priest in the whorehouse situation here? He's either creep, he's collecting stories, or he's trying to build some sort of legitimacy to come back to YouTube. That's my speculation. I have a pretty good track record on speculation. Again, I think the first one has a better chance. Probably has something to do with YouTube. The second one, there's no evidence, but he gives me a creepy feeling. And I have literally no problem saying that. And it's not like I'm pulling it out of the blue. I mean, let's face it, the guy has filmed, it's completely okay if he does, and reenacted child abuse. And, there's nothing wrong with reenactments. But was that really necessary for YouTube? We also have this guy, he has a perverse desire for power. We heard the thing is, Charlie, I could end you, I could cancel you tomorrow. Oh, so that guy is getting involved with kids for all the right reasons? No. Does that prove that he's the worst among us? No, absolutely not. But I think it's worth considering his behavior. Now, I'll take my Chud Logic criticism, and I'll even say, you know what? You're probably right. But you know what usually ends up happening in a couple of years? I end up being right. First one, probably using this to build his reputation, his authority, so to speak, so he can do this act again, or some facsimile of it. That's my guess. Take it or leave it. Peace.